Welcome to the Gleeful Meeple, a podcast all about board games where strategy meets laughter and every roll of the dice is a chance for luck to be in your favor. In this episode, we respond to the question, oh, you mean like Monopoly? We shoot for the moon with a Rosenberg game that isn't about farming in this week's game of the show, Nova Luna. And you, the Gleeples, get to play along as the hosts get put in the hot seat with this week's game challenge. So get ready to connect the dots and regret that tile you placed there a few turns ago because there's no take-backsies and, hey, I see you reaching for that tile. No! Welcome back to the table, everybody.
Yay!
Hi, James.
It's Emily.
Hi, Dwayne's here.
Hey, this is JK, and my favorite wing flavor is lemon pepper.
James here, and my favorite wing flavor is Parmesan.
Ooh.
You know what? I will just take a solid buffalo style wing.
Are you a boneless guy or a bone-in
absolutely
guy?
not. Those aren't even wings.
No,
They're not even
nuggets.
wings. Those are nuggets. Those are
glorified nuggets.
sauced
But they-
nuggets.
but they make your hands messy.
What, the wings?
Yeah.
That's part of the
That
experience.
No.
It is part
What
of
are
the
you eating,
experience.
wings
That's
with a
why
fork and a
I'm
knife?
yeah, I'm
What are
fussy.
you doing?
I'm fussy.
I'm
You're doing it
boneless all
wrong,
the way.
JK.
I like my chicken nuggets.
If you're eating your
I like
wings
my
and
chicken
only
nuggets.
your hands are getting messy, you're eating your wings wrong
Ooh,
anyway.
what is the best McDonald's chicken nugget sauce? Don't give me that McDonald's stuff that just came out, too. That was lame.
I don't know if I've ever had McDonald's nuggets.
I also don't frequent McDonald's.
Wow.
So
Well, the
I don't
proper
know.
answer here is hot mustard. Anyway, moving on.
Interesting.
I have, guess what, guys?
Do you have a game for us?
I have
A riddle?
a riddle. I have a
A
riddle.
riddle?
A riddle
I
or
have
a
for you.
haiku?
Yeah.
Riddle?
It's riddle this time.
All right.
I feel like more words is better.
More words is better.
Should we jump in as soon as we know it, or do you want us to let you finish first?
I would like James to finish.
All right. Hands on buzzer.
I shall finish. With a clipboard in hand, sequentially I plan. A grid built for play in a roundabout way. To curb your enthusiasm, you'll need to pull together your thoughts. But don't park in the way of progress, or you'll lose the blocks.
It's Welcome to.
It is.
It is what?
Welcome to.
Welcome to.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm glad you got that right because I was going to guess the wrong game and I didn't want to look stupid.
Hey!
So let's. This is a great opportunity. We don't get a chance to focus on games that aren't really part of the show a lot. Welcome to is a fantastic series.
Okay, so listeners, an unknown fact about JK thus far is I really kind of despise roll and writes. I don't like them. I think they're multiplayer solitaire. I played Welcome to the Moon with Dwayne.
Yes.
And it's probably my most liked roll and write game. That was solid.
Ooh.
Yeah,
High praise.
it was.
Yeah, it's been my personal challenge to find roll and writes that JK likes. Once
Yeah.
I discovered this fact.
Yeah. Three Sisters wasn't bad. Three Sisters was on the edge for a minute, and I think I picked it up and then never played it because I couldn't muster the thought of rolling and writing.
So, well, let's dive into that a little deeper because, as you may know, one of my favorite games of all time, Grand Austria Hotel, had a roll and write released this year, and I'm surprised I haven't picked it up yet. So I really need to get a hold of that and give that a try.
Okay.
I will join you in on that because maybe that will help me enjoy Grand Austria Hotel.
I don't think you and I have ever had a bigger disparity of disagreement on a game because it is absolutely like a top tier A+ game for me. And Emily's like, I've played it.
Dwayne and I are more of one mind.
We really are in a lot of games.
A lot of
things. Our opinions run very, very, very close. But go ahead.
I was going to say, I like roll and writes a lot, but I've gotten to the point to where I have a few key ones that stay in my collection. And now if a new one pops up, I try it first and see if it gives me an experience that those don't. And I'm finding more and more that most of them it's not that they're not good games. They don't do something clever or they're not fun to play, but they're not new enough outside of what I have. I have 4 or 5 roll and writes that pretty much cover the bases with what roll and writes are trying to do at this point. So if something new pops up, I'll try it, but I'm pretty hesitant to purchase new ones now. Like I love Three Sisters as well.
Yeah.
They've had 2 more games come out like that since then, and I haven't bothered to pick them up because I just know they're going to feel pretty much the same.
I'm pretty sure I sold my Three Sisters at Tennessee Game Days last time through. And that was after buying it. I don't think I actually played it once I bought it.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I keep in my collection because it provides a unique experience.
Yeah.
But I don't need two more like that.
Well, and here's what's fun with the Welcome To series, because Welcome To, the first one technically called Welcome to Your New Neighborhood. It's the one that you did the riddle on, and it is building neighborhoods. The mechanics are pretty simple. Flip a card, choose which pair of cards you want to use, write down. That's where it gets the roll and write kind of a mechanic from. They re-implemented that into Welcome to Vegas, which we can talk about at a later time. But what I want to focus on is Welcome to the Moon, because it takes that core mechanic and expands it over 8 different varieties of boards. It is, for a Welcome to fan, it is beautiful. It's fantastic. There's a little campaign you can do in there, and you can actually play through it twice. It's all part of the same story. So I just really can't. If you love Welcome to, I cannot recommend Welcome to the Moon enough.
I need to play it sometime because I've not played that, and I love the original.
Yeah, I would play it again for sure.
So speaking of Tennessee Game Day, there was a game day in Tennessee this past Saturday.
That was a very
Well done. Well executed.
that segue.
Segment master.
Go on, Emily.
Meeple Mountain hosted a tabletop day on April 20th this past Saturday, and 3 of the hosts were there almost all day, and I popped in for a game. How did it go, guys?
Shout out to Andy Matthews for always putting on a good event. He kind of single-handedly throws this thing together with some volunteers late in the game, but he does a wonderful job with this. And Trevecca Nazarene University here in Nashville provides the gaming space. Great day. It's a less inebriated TGD, scaled down a little bit into one day, but it's some good gameplay. Andy also does a really great job of contacting game providers and having a good library there of games that you can play if you don't bring your own. Also a good amount of games that you can win.
That play to win library,
it was amazing.
Not only is it an insane, great play to win library, but it is one of the few cons that I attend with a play to win library that will actually let you win more than one game.
Yeah.
And the stuff that he has there is it's not just the publishers feel like they're throwing Meeple Mountain a bone. They are putting out some A-list content for this.
Yeah, so meeplemountain.com is the website that Andy runs. And it's news outlets, does reviews. It's just board game content. It's a great website, and he uses that to have these relationships with these publishers and these companies to provide these play to win games. And so we're talking brand new releases, hot games. It's awesome. And it gets a huge response every year.
We'll go back to the event in just a second. One of my favorite features on the Meeple Mountain website is there's an article that is just like a compendium of all of the board game cafes that exist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like if you're going on a road trip somewhere in the U.S., I think there's actually a global list as well, but definitely a thorough list for the United States is if you're going on a road trip, go look up that state, look up that city you're going, and then you'll be able to probably find a board game cafe somewhere near that area.
We could probably do an episode on board game cafes that we've visited.
Oh, yeah. Save that in the bank for later.
Big shout out to all the volunteers that helped do that as well. The only way those events like that happen is by volunteers stepping up and helping man all the desks and sit in those seats and share shifts to help check in people and all that stuff. And I know a lot of Gleeful Meeple members were helping out. So shout out to all you Gleeful Meeples that were out there helping volunteer to the event. But
our community had a strong showing at this event, and it was really good.
But to everyone else as well, just thanks for giving your time. It really makes a big impact and having a great, I think Nashville is a pretty amazing place to be a board gamer with just all the stuff we have, the game cafes, the stores, the events, 1-day cons, 2-day cons. And so it makes it a special place to be.
It really is, and we kind of got into this on our last episode about BGA because I realized that we are very privileged in Nashville. I dare say that there is not a night when I wanted to play a board game that I couldn't call up someone and get, hey, let's meet up here and play a game. Like we just have that many connections here in Nashville. There's that many different groups. I mean, if you were to just look for different board game group events in Nashville, you could probably find one almost every night of the week. So we are very lucky.
Most of them are ours.
many of them are.
We do have a good portion of events.
Oh, and did we mention that it's free?
That is that's another great thing. The fact that this is a free event is astounding. I'm gonna drop one game that I played there, maybe two. Okay.
Yeah, let's go to some highlights real quick.
So the worst game I played at Tennessee at Tabletop Day was there is a new game in the Universal Monsters universe coming off of Horrified, and it is Universal Monsters Unchained, which is a reskin of Nightfall, I think. We set it up, we played 2 rounds, and we decided we had had enough of this game. It is a deck builder with strange mechanics. There is a lot of iconography, and during a round, I can play as many cards, my neighbor can play as many cards as they want to, their neighbor can play as many cards, their neighbor can play as many cards, and then you have to resolve each and every one of those cards in reverse order. And it is long, and it is whatever it's trying to do, I'm not enjoying it. So that one's not going to make a replay list for me.
Yeah, I hate when games go into the cumbersome territory and you're like, I want to enjoy what you're trying to do, but you're making it so hard.
Yeah. I was more stressed out about trying to figure out what each symbol did on the cards that we resolved, 2 to 3 times per player per turn. It just kind of killed the speed of the game.
I think my big hit from the event is going to be Ancient Knowledge, which unfortunately we only played about halfway through the game, which takes about 14 cards into your tableau. We played until we had 7 and then wrapped it up. It's a neat civilization building game where you're adding things to a tableau, and then each round they age. And as they age out of your history, they cause you problems. So neat little balancing game. I also enjoyed a game called Redwood, which was taking nature photography. It was a neat concept, neat execution. My one concern on it is that there are these little plastic templates that you use to both move your figure as well as figure out what your field of vision is when you're taking your picture. And they're real flimsy plastic. I just can't imagine those living within the game world for a long time.
Big takeaway for me would be, I think I'll echo you on Ancient Knowledge. I think that was my highlight. Playing the first half of it, I can see how the second half would just kind of exponentially become more intertwined. I think with the card play that you're being asked to execute on. So looking forward to playing more of that and getting some full games in. Much smaller box than I realized. I'd seen coverage on it leading up to this, and for some reason I always saw it as this like large, massive box, and it's not. It's actually a small little package, which is nice as well. Not every game needs to be a Kickstarter deluxeified whatever behemoth. So,
and full disclosure, there's nothing wrong with the game that caused us to stop playing it halfway through. It was lunchtime. We were hungry. It was time to break out there for a little bit.
And lots of other games to try.
Yeah, I think my highlight. Speaking of behemoth collection deluxe boxes, Dwayne was able to get his Dead by Daylight collector's edition off the shelf.
Dusted it off the shelf of opportunity for a first playthrough. Emily was there for it.
And so that was really fun. I really enjoyed the 1v4 aspect. So it's kind of co-op, kind of competitive. It's based off of the video game, which I am hoping to play later this year. So I really liked that kind of narrative aspect of it. And we had people that are playing with us that had experience with the video games. So that was fun to see how they were excited about how it all tied together.
It is a trick to take a video game and turn it into a board game, and this one hits the notes from the video game very well. I am very much looking forward to getting it on the table again. Lots of replayability with the different killers and the different survivors that it can play. There's 4 different maps in the collector's edition, and they've just announced I think they are doing pre-orders for an expansion that will add some more killers, victims, and maps to the game.
So that was my highlight.
Set your clocks now. 1 year from now, we'll be having a similar conversation.
Probably the third Saturday in April.
I think this is my 4th one in a row.
Nice.
We're probably on the same schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think I started attending them more frequently when I joined the group. So
okay.
Well, guys, do we have a discussion today?
We do have
This
a
is a
discussion.
hot topic in the gaming world, too.
Yeah, 2 hot topics back to back. Although this isn't yelling at the clouds.
No,
This is just a topic.
I mean, I may have an opinion here.
We
You never
probably
know.
all do.
Well, hopefully we all have opinions.
Otherwise,
I think there will be
very boring show.
some opinions.
I might just make up an opinion to play devil's advocate. We'll see.
What are we talking about, James?
Oh, you mean like Monopoly?
Oh, those words.
I play board games. Oh, you mean like Monopoly?
Yeah.
That's a question we've
I've
all
heard that
received
a
at
few
some point.
times.
Yeah, family, friends.
So, how do you react when somebody asks you that?
I say kinda, and then talk about board games and what they are now a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's a game that we that can be played. But board games have come a long way. It's kind of like, if you look at video games and Mario versus, and I'll pick some game that's probably in the zeitgeist, currently, right? That's kind of where board games have come, right? They've gone from Monopoly up to a lot of different things. So yeah, that'll pop up sometimes, but lots of other things too.
That's what, if I don't get that question, I'll get, oh, what's your favorite board game? And I just cringe because I know I'm about to say something that they've never even heard of.
Right, that is a very good point, because I know regardless of how far down my list of my favorite board games I go, the odds of hitting somebody, if they are asking me what my favorite board game is, the odds of hitting something that they've heard of in the past is probably infrequent. But if I see that sparkle in their eye when I mention a title, I'm like, oh yes, they're my people.
Yeah.
One way that I've responded to that question, I should say how I've evolved, how I answer that question, is I just say the game that I like the most right now. Hey, what's your favorite game? Oh, right now I'm playing a game called Revive that I really, really like. And I just answer the question. I think there's a lot of instinct sometimes for people who are in the hobby who might think that there's no way you're going to know what game I mentioned, right?
Yep.
Well, you probably haven't heard of it, but...
Yeah.
And that goes through my mind immediately when I want to answer that, and I have to actually stop myself. I'm like, you know what? There's no reason to say that. I don't need to be like, you probably never heard of it before. Yeah, they probably haven't, but I don't need to say that, right? Just say, yeah, actually, a great game I've been enjoying right now is Revive and Darwin's Journey. There's 2 really cool games, and never heard of those. Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
That's what,
and that's it,
Yeah, Terraforming Mars was on top of my most played list last year, and whenever I was talking to someone new about it, that's just a fun game, I think, to describe, because it's oh, we are just trying to colonize Mars. We're trying to get it ready for human life, so we got to raise the oxygen, raise the temperature, got to plant trees and build, but get some oceans out on the board. And so there's more visuals, and it's just fun to just bring them in to what I like about board games.
So when you look at Board Game Geek, who ranks all of the available games on the planet, there's currently 26,215 games on their ranking. Monopoly is 26,210th on the ranking.
Yeah, it's in the it's super
bad.
low.
It's bad. The worst game on the list, incidentally, is tic-tac-toe. Now, as I look at that bottom 10, I'm seeing a lot of games that I played as a child and enjoyed them and found good love in those games. And here's kind of the way I look at Monopoly. To your point, James, when somebody asks me, like Monopoly, I say, yes, but. There's always an explanation there.
Yes, but, or yes, and.
Yes. So when I was a younger adult, I almost exclusively drank Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Lite. And those were my beers of choice. I had a little local wings place next to my house that started this promotion where if you drank 30 different beers in their place of business, you got to post your list that you drank and get your picture taken and post it up on the wall. And I was a regular there. They had a trivia night. We loved the place. It was great. They asked me if I wanted to do this top 30 thing, and I said no, because there's not enough beer in this building that I could drink that's going to make that list of 30. I have 3 that I drink. And the owner and I, kind of befriended each other, and he pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. And I finally sat down and told him, look, I don't like dark beer. I don't like really hoppy beer. I like my Bud Light. I'm happy with that. And he persuaded me to try, it was actually Sea Dog Blueberry Wheat Ale.
Oh yeah,
which is a
great beer.
A great craft
That sounds
beer.
good.
And I went, oh, okay, this is actually good. And then over the coming months, he managed to get me through that whole list of 30 beers. The 30th beer I tried I tried for the first time in my life, well into my 30s, was a Guinness. And I thought I would hate it. And I went, this isn't bad. I think people look at Monopoly, look at the board games of our youth as the Bud Light, the Miller Lite, the Coors Light, that they were good when we played them. But now that we've moved into craft gaming, those games no longer are up to speed. That said, my hot take on it is when you've got somebody in the gaming world that is like, ew, Monopoly, you're being a douche because you grew up playing that game too.
Well, you're gatekeeping.
You're gatekeeping.
Yeah,
totally.
it is
Yeah.
a very
Absolutely.
gatekeepy kind of thing.
All right. How likely is that person to want to get excited about board games when maybe they like Monopoly? There's still that family that plays it every holiday, and it's a thing, and you're like, oh, Monopoly? Psh, no, we don't play that trash. Like, there's no way that you're ever going to convert them to want to try
Right,
something different.
right.
And that's what, like, I think if you don't like Monopoly, that's fine. Like, there's a way to, like, express that opinion without being a gatekeeper of board games. It's like, oh, I don't really do Monopoly anymore. I didn't enjoy it as a kid, or maybe I did enjoy it as a kid. But I found these other games that, like, I like way more. And
Hey,
like-
do you like the buying of selling in properties in Monopoly? Let me introduce you to For Sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if the trading is your thing, Catan is a great.
Yeah.
If you love being a part of the trade, Catan is solid for trading.
so there's Monopoly and like other kind of like games we grew up on as children, maybe like Uno, whatever. And then I think there's a lot more kind of like mainstream games being released like later in the 2000s that can also, I want to say strike fear.
Yes, go on.
Name some names. Who are you calling out here?
I'm thinking of like party games. So Telestrations, Cards Against Humanity.
Yep.
Like,
Apples to Apples.
Yeah.
Which is Cards Against Humanity.
It's-
Family.
As if Sarah Silverman had created it.
I feel like we've kind of like met a new iteration of like, oh, like Monopoly, because that one's just such a household name, like Clue, and like Clue is still like really good.
Is Clue still really good?
Okay, so I
Was
think
Clue ever good?
that's a story for a different day.
Okay, fair enough.
I can't go that deep into that one right now.
JK, quit looking at my 3 versions of Clue.
On your shelf.
Which even that has like an updated version. If you've ever played Awkward Guests, that's like an updated.
I was going to say
Clue.
it. There's
Yeah.
actually, it's finishing right now by the time this airs. Maybe not. There might be a few days left. There's Awkward Guests 2 on
Oh.
Kickstarter right now.
Wow.
Okay.
And this
Okay.
should go live before that campaign closes. So check it out. Inexpensive.
Is it a Clue? A Clue
It's a
replacement?
deduction clue
Okay.
replacement.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
There's characters, rooms, the whole thing.
Speaking of that, characters induction, has anyone ever played Mystery of the Abbey from Days of Wonder, older Days of Wonder game?
I don't have the Days of Wonder version, but there is a new version that has been kickstarted, and I'm due to get that in the coming months.
Fantastic.
So
I look
we'll-
forward
we'll
to
break
playing with
that
that
out.
with you.
Put a
That was
note
an
in that.
early hobby game that I bought, and it just didn't ring the bell for me. There's a bell in the
Good
game. It's good. It's funny if you know the game. But one more thing. Can I say this about Monopoly? I grew up loving Monopoly. And not only did I love Monopoly, I studied Monopoly. And so when I am approached with a question, do you mean like Monopoly? I tell that person, look, we don't play a lot of Monopoly in our board game group, but if you want to bring Monopoly and have your butt handed to you in a game of Monopoly, I will gladly do that for you.
I have seen in 7-ish years of hosting our events, I've seen Monopoly out at an event once.
Yeah, it's probably the same event
Yeah.
that I saw it at. So it's one of those. It's it is considered a classic, and people do still have a lot of fondness for the game. But there's just, if I want a board game, there are better ways to spend my time, more enjoyable ways.
Well, and I think the key thing sometimes for folks like us who are, it's a hobby for us, right? We're enthusiasts, board gamers for the most part. We play, lots of new modern games. Is we're passionate about it. We really enjoy it. There's a reason Monopoly is ranked 20 whatever thousand, but is also the most sold game like ever, probably still now on an annual basis, right? but we're so passionate about it that the moment somebody asks about it, we want to be like, oh, let me show you all the stuff.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, let me overwhelm
just
you with
opened the
all the.
floodgates,
Oh my god,
baby.
you have no idea what you just asked me. Let me show you my life's passion and what
Oh,
It just
yes.
they just asked you if it was like Monopoly. Like they don't they're not trying to be inducted into what we do as a hobby. And we just, we go into that immediate, just like high impact, high in your face. Oh my gosh, let me tell you all these games. You got to stop playing Monopoly. And just, no, just answer the question. Oh, kind of.
As you say that, I can hear my voice because when I get excited, I start to get really high pitched, and I can just hear my tone. Like, oh my God, there's so many good card games to show you.
Like, I've played some genuinely bad modern craft games that I would put below Monopoly in terms of how much fun I had with them, and they're not in the bottom.
Yeah, here's the
25,000.
problem with that list. BGG rankings have a lot of issues, but the biggest one is what you're going to have is you're going to have hobby board gamers for the most part getting on there and just going and giving
crapping on the
that
games.
a
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
A 1 to me means that it is an unplayable game. Monopoly has issues. It is not unplayable. There is a game there. It might not be everyone's thing. Maybe you don't like, how long does this game go? I don't know. Hard to say. Like that's a terrifying thing when I ask how long a game is.
Yeah.
Monopoly, that's one of the issues with Monopoly. But anyway, you have a lot of hobby board gamers getting there and just throwing ones on Monopoly because it's fun to punch up at it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if BGG was one of those things where everyone was required to have an account like Google, Monopoly would be ranked much higher if you had what I like to call muggles on there, ranking their favorite games. It would be a higher game. It's because people are just being jerks about that game.
That's really what it feels like, Muggles. I first found this group in 2022, and it was one of those, like, I had just moved out of my parents' house, like pandemic, like whatever, moving on from that. And I was like, okay, I need a social life that's not my parents. I like board games. Let's go see what this group is about. And the events are super friendly, super accessible, like some party games and some like heavier games. And then just since then, just got along really well with everyone and just opened up this whole new world that I did not know existed. And so it's like, I'll talk about board games with my roommate. And then it's like, every time I mention something like just that seems slightly out of the realm of mainstream, she's like confused. And then there's like a sense of resignation. She's like, of course that's a thing. Continue. And then like my family who really likes board games, like it used to be my brother-in-law that would like be in charge of bringing all the games to like family game night. And like he would bring us some good ones. Like he introduced us to Seven Wonders, to Dominion. I want to say Acquire, but I can't remember. And so he was kind of like in the hobby, and then they had kids and like their lives got busy, and then I got into it. And so now I am like the board gamer, like bringer to the family game nights.
You took your brother's place.
I know.
This was my thing, Emily. I'm making a note that we need to make a whole new world parody about board games.
I mean, board games have come a long way.
Pandora's shrink-wrapped box.
Honestly, though.
Stores like Target, Barnes and Noble,
Walmart's got
Walmart
Gloomhaven.
got it now. There are major retail
Jaws of the
outlets.
Lion.
Well, of course, yeah. Major retail outlets that are carrying hobby board games. So it is getting its tendrils out into the general populace. And it's becoming more known. I think Catan led the way for this. Most people who don't even play board games know somebody who has Catan or has tried to force them to play Catan at game night or something like that. But it's getting more out there, but it still isn't, right, in the popular zeitgeist as like video games are or something like that. So if somebody asks you like, oh, like Monopoly, I found that one of the best ways to engage in that conversation is like respond like you mentioned, JK, yes, but, right, some version of that. And then ask a question in response, do you have a favorite board game? And then they get excited about talking something that they like about.
Yeah.
Right? It might be Uno, it might be whatever, but they're excited talking about board games.
They're really into Scrabble. Give them Letter Jam. Find something that's close.
Or Letter Tycoon.
Recommend something. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I mean, if you like games like that, you should really try this. And I bet you could find it at whatever, Target, Barnes and
Amazon.
Noble. Amazon. Yes, go on Amazon, find Letter Tycoon. Go find Letter Jam. I mean, if you want a real challenge, whatchamacallit, paperback or something, right? But if you like word games, or if they say something else, I was like, think ahead about like what are some common games that reach lots of pretty broad strokes, and maybe have a recommendation you can have prepared for lots of those answers.
Is Scout the Uno recommendation now?
Ooh.
I don't know.
Could be.
It's probably the closest thing that I can come up with. If someone's like, I love Uno, what do you have for me? Scout would probably be my go-to. I mean, you're trying to play a better hand than, you're trying to get rid of your cards, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I
a
guess.
strategic kind of Uno.
There's no like directly affecting other players like Uno does.
That's true.
Right. There's no take that in Scout, which some people might like about Uno. But yeah, I don't know. Just ask a question. What games do you like? And then think of a recommendation that you can offer. It's always gone well for me.
Have you ever had this happen to you where you get invited to a game night
So far, so good.
with people that you have not played games with yet?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then
You show up with Twilight Imperium.
Yes, as if one does.
and then they pull out Cards Against Humanity.
Cards Against Humanity is always going to crush a game night where I don't know the players. Like that is going to happen, and then that's going to be Cards Against Humanity is fine in limited doses.
Yeah.
But
Very limited.
the jokes tend to be the same. Haha, it's dirty. Then that proceeds to go on for 3 hours. That's too much Cards
way
Against
too
Humanity.
long.
Yeah.
Because that's what I just, and I'm so sorry if any coworkers are listening right now, but I just had a game night with some coworkers the other night, and it was kind of under the pretense of game night, but I think it was kind of like chill. They're like, I have this game we can try out, but like also we can hang out. So I didn't know what to expect. I had my board game bag in my car. I was like, I'm just going to leave it there.
That's good.
I don't know what the vibes
I don't
are.
want to scare anybody.
I'm just going to like walk in and see what's up. And so like we're just chatting, have a good time. There's like a large enough group of us so that it was awkward to where we would have had to split into like multiple games if that was going to be a thing. But someone like brought out this like party game, like Truth or Drink, and someone's like trying to figure out the rules and like just gave up on the rules. And so I'm like, I'll take over. I do a lot of board games. I can figure this out.
Allow me. I am a master.
And like my coworker that like knows I do this, she's like, oh yeah, she's like a professional. And so, but it's like when you're playing in a group like that with a game like that, it's almost like you don't want to play the rules anyway. Like
Just for fun.
Like I just I looked through the deck and I found questions that I thought were interesting. Because it's just like we had a large enough group where it's like, oh, these people don't really know that person and this person doesn't really know these other people. And so it's like when you're at a game where you have to like pick someone to ask this truth or drink question to, it's like, no, we're just going to do conversation starter type questions.
Yeah. I've had decent luck at a couple parties where I was told to bring games. Definitely not going into my heavier stuff, but I've brought in One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Yeah.
And usually with a group of non-gamers, you can get a pretty good game of that going once you explain it a little bit to them.
Even werewolf tends to be pretty easy to like the traditional old school werewolf mafia, what have you. Although now that's been supplanted with
fancy werewolf, Blood on the Clock Tower.
Blood on the Clock Tower, yes, the fanciest of werewolves games.
If you want a great trifecta to bring to a gathering, a family night where games might be part of it, there's Repo's production. Kicked it off with Just One.
Oh yeah,
right. But they've continued to put out games that same size box, same design. Mythos is the wrong word.
Aesthetic,
but design mindset behind the game, right? When they're making these, so they brought Just One, then So Clover, and then the last one is the one with the plastic arrows.
Fun Facts. Which honestly, playing with strangers plays horribly. If you have a close-knit group, whether it's family, friends, Fun Facts is fantastic.
It's great. We bring it to all of our family gatherings. They love it now. But those 3 boxes, exact same size, all from the same publisher. Just throw them in your bag. One of them will hit. Guaranteed.
Fun Facts the one with the arrows?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, JK and I were at a local game shop, and the guy who runs it's one of our friends, and he said, all right, let's do this one. who owns the most board games, or how many board games do you own? And so the idea, I think, was we had to write down the number and then put it face down and you organize them. And when it came down to me and JK, like there was a lot of deliberation, but not only between JK and myself, but among everyone. Like, who really does have the most games? That was kind of fun. It's a close running. JK's pointing at me, but we're super close. All right.
But yeah, like there's definitely space for all of these interests like in the hobby. And I think like if you're more into the hobby, more into the esoteric stuff, don't be a jerk. Like
don't if you're crapping on Monopoly to somebody that's interested in joining your game group, you suck. Let them join. Teach them something new.
Yeah. Like there's way to compromise and build bridges and like introduce your world without completely shutting off everything valid in their world.
Yeah, just be nice.
Well, and if you're listening to this, you have probably had some of these situations happen yourself. So please feel free to write the show and let us know how do you respond to the question like Monopoly, and what do you bring to a board game night when you don't necessarily know the play style of the people who are attending. All right, everyone, it's time to talk about our game of the show. And our game of the show for this episode is Nova Luna. Nova Luna is published by Stronghold Games. The designers are Rosenberg and Coran van Morsel. We'll go with it. All right. The artist's name is Lucas Sigmund, and he lives on the second floor. The year released was 2019. Thank you, JK. I knew I'd get a laugh out of someone on that.
Not me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nova Luna was released in 2019. It plays 1 to 4, but it's at its most gleeful with 2 players. JK, walk us through Nova Luna.
This one's a little tricky to explain because it is an abstract game, and you're basically playing 2 separate games during the course of Nova Luna. The first part is a tile selection game. You are choosing from an available segment of tiles that are kind of built around a phases of the moon board. You can only choose from the next 3 tiles in front of you, and each of those tiles has a certain point value. Whatever tile you select, you're going to move your icon forward that many points, and whichever player remains in last place is going to be the one that is the active player. So depending on how far ahead players are, you might have the same player take multiple turns. Once that portion of the game is done, you're going to take the tile that you have selected and assign it to your play area, connecting it adjacently, orthogonally, to one of the other tiles in your board. When you place these tiles, they are colored either yellow, red, teal, or dark blue. And each of them has some scoring mechanics on each individual tile showing what tiles they would prefer to have next to them. If you complete that challenge, you drop a little wooden disc on top of the tile showing you've done so. The game is set up with each player having a set number of wooden tiles to start the game, and the game finishes as soon as someone places their last wooden tile. It's a weird one, but that's Nova Luna.
Nice.
So JK, playing Nova Luna, I was reminded of a conversation we had a few years ago when the new Batman movie came out, The Batman. And I asked you, JK, did you like, what did you think of The Batman? And you said, Dwayne, did you like the movie Seven? And I said, yes. And you go, could it be better with Batman in it? And I was like, I don't know, but I'm curious. That's how I felt about Nova Luna. It was like, do you like patchwork? Yes. How would you feel about if it had 4 players instead of just 2? Well, I would try it out.
Yeah.
There are the time as a commodity is which Rosenberg apparently likes to do is a great feature of this game. I really, really liked that aspect of it. The tile collection was lost on me here and there, but overall, I had a good time with it.
It may have been the day you really struggled the night we played this, trying to wrap
it was rough. What I really need to do was what I usually do, which is just grab the rule book and read it. Not that you did a bad job of explaining, but I am one of those strange people who do it really, really well by reading something, and so that might have helped me.
That's what I do that a lot with games. That just helps reinforce whatever was just taught to me. It's like, I know I heard it, but let me read it, and now I definitely have it, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, you mentioned right with Uwe Rosenberg just right that the time management is something that he uses in his games. So if you're not familiar with Uwe Rosenberg and you're like, this doesn't sound familiar, you might know some of his other games, Agricola. A Feast for Odin, Bonanza even.
Bonanza!
Le Havre. But Patchwork is actually one of his as well. He's known for these like Euro games with farming elements, but he actually has quite a few that, kind of stretch out into different territories. And I think he pulls that time management, piece of the puzzle right out of Patchwork. He just enjoys doing that. I quite like simple little. It's kind of a puzzle game when it comes down to it.
100%.
It's there's a theme on there, but it's just tiles with dots. Connect these tiles to make the dots connect. Right? It's a straight up puzzle game, but it's done in a way that isn't too obtuse that you can't figure out what a good strategy would be for it.
And you kind of have to maintain that balance between the two separate segments of the game. You might see a tile 3 spaces in front of you that is perfect for your board, but that also means you're going to leap forward 7 spots and you might not have another turn for 5 or 6 turns. So are you better off maybe taking that lesser important tile that's going to impact you but might give you another choice coming up sooner? There's a lot to think about.
That's what that really... JK trapped me in a decision between 3 higher point value tiles, because it's where the moon kind of like travels around the moon cycle as it does. And you can only pick from the 3 tiles that are in front of the moon. And like JK had done something and then James then it was my turn to be the active player. And my 3 tiles were like 6, 6, 7. And it's like, I'm not going to get to go again for at least everyone else gets 2 more turns.
Seems
and it's
like a good time for a restroom break.
Yeah, honestly. But then it was like, it sucked because once it was my turn again, I'm looking at other people's tableaus and I'm like, they have 2 more tiles than I do because you are able to have more turns. And so, yeah, you might have more growth opportunities if you go for a 4, 5, 6 point tile, but you're not getting as many turns if you do that often.
Yeah, and you're also giving yourself, I think, less flexibility in your tableau. So I think I've played this game a few times now, and I feel like the strategy, really, the best strategy at least, is really to try and focus on low scoring tiles, or low point tiles, because you get to go more often, but the more tiles you have, the easier it is to pivot while you're playing this and make something out of nothing.
That's smart.
Because one of the tensions that I like in this game, and I think this is the tension that kind of makes the game, in my opinion, is that when it's your, say you're halfway through the game, you've gotten some tiles laid out in front of you, and you have some things in mind. You've laid out these tiles in a way that you're hoping that, okay, if I can get this tile over here, it's going to make me a lot of points. So you're planning, but then you have those turns where the tiles available to you do not match with your plan at all. And in that moment, you have to take a tile that doesn't work and figure out where to put it for now in the hopes that it will work later. And if you can get a couple of those tiles like that, and you're usually putting them on the ends, the outskirts of your tableau, right, and then figuring it out later. But sometimes you need a place to pivot, and if you don't have enough of that, you get stuck. And then also, it's not a very good feeling when you do have to take a big tile and you sit there for 6 turns waiting for it to be your turn again.
Yeah.
Not a great feeling. But I feel like that's the tension that makes this game, is having to take these tiles that don't work and figure out where to put them so that they'll hopefully work later.
That's what I really like what the publisher wrote. In each round of this abstract tile laying game, you have to plan your future anew, developing a new strategy to cope with what the moon wheel has to offer you. And it's
there you go, yeah.
So it's so true. You have... Yeah, that's what makes the game interesting to me, too. It's okay, I have this vague strategy that's spanning across multiple turns, but then it's you have to be flexible, you have to be on your feet, and you have to rework what's in front of you, in your mind.
Well, one other element that came up too, as the moon wheel gets depleted, when you get down to 2 or less tiles, whichever player is on the active turn, they can opt to take one of those 2 tiles, or they can ask for a restock on the board. And that's when you get everything replenished, the board completely fills again. I do believe during our game there was a point where one of you was looking for a red, a yellow, or a blue tile. I can't remember what color. But the board restocked, and literally out of every tile on that board, it wasn't available.
It was that color. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so there's that element of, eventually this is going to be restocked, and it might not be restocked in your favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier about getting tiles that are worth least points. I shouldn't have said points to paint the wrong picture. The goal of this game is just you have, I think JK mentioned this, a pool of discs you're trying to deplete. And so just the first person to place all those discs out wins the game. There are no points or anything like that for the most part. The goal is just to deplete your discs. And you have the lesser value tiles have fewer spots for you to put those discs on.
Right.
But you get more turns and you just get more opportunity to make combos because you have more tiles out there. So I think that's always going to be my strategy moving forward, is just to try and always get low scoring tiles to give myself more opportunity.
The game doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles to it. It's mostly cardboard with some wooden discs. I don't know of any upgraded editions of this that exist. The art style is nice. It's colorful. It's pretty. What do you guys think?
I think the presentation is nice.
Yeah, it's a little new agey, right?
Yeah.
That's the feel. That's the vibe I got off of. That's the vibe I got off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an abstract game, so you can't ask for. The theme doesn't mean anything, but it's well presented.
I'm so glad you said theme. Also from the publisher, the new moon is a symbol for a new beginning, the perfect time to start something new and to plan your future, and that is what Nova Luna is all about. I love this game. I think this is our first game of the show that is abstract.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's only been 4 episodes. Why
This
is it so hard to
is by
remember?
far the weirdest one I've broken
Yeah,
out for you
yeah.
guys.
But it's so cute and like conceptual, whereas all the other games has like such a clear story that we've worked with. Like, you got to feed your tribe and survive and have the best tribe. Like, you got to be the commander of your ship. Like, you got to race your car. And this one's like, no, this is just like a cozy game. Just get some cozy little pretty tiles and lay them on like in a certain way that helps you get rid of your discs.
Another upside, which was the main reason I brought it out at our last gathering, it's quick.
Yeah.
We were done in 30 minutes, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The worst thing is a simple, fun puzzle game that outstays its welcome.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I get it. Can we just finish this, please? This wasn't that.
Yeah. So
Dwayne, you hated it.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I enjoyed it a good bit. In fact, I'm looking forward to playing it again, just because now that I kind of understand the idea. Obviously, you all had strategies that I wasn't working with. My basic strategy was try to get the tiles for the least amount of time to get some more turns. That did not, well, spoilers, that did not work out for me. But I would look forward to playing this again in the future. In fact, I'm hard pressed to I don't really have any negatives for the game.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
What
clean
negatives
play.
do we have?
None.
It-
I think it's a pleasant game.
It plays clean and fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly do not have any negatives. There's nothing that stood out as a jarring, unpleasant thing. I guess the one thing I guess I mentioned it earlier is that you can have bad feels sometimes if you do end up way ahead of the group and you're stuck watching other people take turns after turn after turn until you finally end up being the last person in line. That can not feel good. Usually, sometimes it's of your own doing because you chose that tile. Mm-hmm. Other times you're
Sometimes
forced
JK
into it,
blocks you into it.
which makes the bad feels even worse. But outside of that, I don't have anything bad to say about it.
Sometimes you choose a tile, and sometimes you have a tile thrust upon you.
That is right.
This game is one of the few in my collection that my non-gaming wife will play with me. She really enjoys Nova Luna. Is very good at it as well.
I'm glad we had this like earlier conversation of like merging hobby gamers to more mainstream gamers, because it's like I think Nova Luna is like a great game for that. So
Yeah, it's easy to grok, right? Even if you're not used to, like, some modern games
Grok?
use
That's a gaming word.
mechanisms. Well, yeah, I'm a gatekeeper, right? I'm only using. It's easy to grasp.
okay.
On that. There's a lot of modern gaming mechanisms and things that just, we take for granted sometimes when we're teaching games to folks that aren't gamers, that we use these terms and they're like, you lost me with drafting.
Yeah,
right? You
but-
lost me with.
Grok's a
Yeah.
perfectly cromulent word.
Okay. Okay.
I will say, if you end up playing this and you want something similar, it reminds me of another game called Kerala: Way of the Elephant.
I played that with you.
Yeah, it's very similar. Actually, same little square, rounded edge tiles that you're matching colors up, building a little tableau in front of you with those tiles, and it's a very similar feeling. So if you end up playing this and you like it, I'd recommend searching out Kerala Way of the Elephant, or ask me to bring it to an event one time here locally. I'll play it.
Yeah, I take that back. I do have a complaint with this game. It had too few elephants.
All right, so JK kicked us off.
JK's going to hold on to it.
I'm keeping it.
Keeping it. James.
This is a keep it to play.
This is also a keep it to play for me.
Wow, guys, for the first time.
Second time.
Since our first episode.
Sorry, jumped the
Emily. Hey, I think we have a 4-way keep it to play.
Yes.
This is a solid one. All right, so go ahead, James.
I will say one last anecdote about Nova Luna. Again, if you do like this, it actually has a history. It started off as a game called Habitats, and then got redesigned into Nova Luna, has since been redesigned into Sagani, and has since been redesigned into Framework. So if you do like this, Framework is the newest implementation of this game.
Very nice. Earlier, we talked about each one of us came to the table with our own strategy, but one of those strategies proved a little stronger than the others because, checks and notes, JK won our game
My
last.
streak continues.
Oh, man. We got to put an end to
You
this.
guys are making me feel real good as a gamer.
All right, JK, you know how this goes. Since you won last show's game of the show, you get to choose this one. What are we playing this time, JK?
You know, Nova Luna was a fun little abstract tile laying game. We're going to go back to one of the granddaddies of tile laying with Carcassonne.
I am very excited to play Carcassonne with you all because I think in my entire I've probably played 25, 30 games of Carcassonne. I don't know that I've played it with anyone outside of my family more than once. So this could be fun.
This could be
It does not come out very often.
And that's
No,
what-
it really doesn't. And it's great. Every time I bring it out, it's like, this is
With
fun.
farmers.
I enjoy this.
more farmers.
More
now
farmers.
Miss Farmers.
But Carcassonne was one of someone analyzed like the data of BGG, like people's like their collections on BGG, and Catan, Carcassonne, and Pandemic were the most owned games of like the people self-recording on BGG.
Have you played it yet, Emily?
I have.
Okay.
You're gonna
James,
have
you've
to
played it before?
re-explain
Yeah.
fields
Oh, we have,
to me.
yes.
I don't have to teach it. This
All right.
is great.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be...
River or no river?
River. I think we should play the river.
Oh, yeah. In fact, if we want to throw in a few little expansions, we can make that happen, too. But I'm very excited because I think this might be the first game we've played... No, Space Base we all knew the rules
Yeah.
for, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so we've had that happen before. Well, listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts on Carcassonne. Send those reviews to pod@gleefulmeeple.com for a chance to have your review highlighted on our next episode. Reviews must be submitted by May 5th to qualify for our next episode.
So, I think we've talked enough about games that it's time to play a game on air. No, not a board game, a game about board games. Yes. This week,
Bring it.
JK has brought a game for us to play.
You guys are going to be very angry with me.
He has that look in his eye.
No, I was putting together a list of games that I kind of wanted to feature in our show, and I was doing it on a letterboard, you know, like the felt letterboard.
Yeah, because that's what you should do.
And they're totally usable. And you guys know I have cats. So one of the cats came up into the room, brushed up against the letterboard. It fell to the floor.
Oh no.
All of the letters just kind of fell in these convenient, nice little neat piles. But I couldn't remember which games I selected. So I just scooped up the letters. I threw them back on the board, and I want to show you what I've got. I've got some notes as to what the game is, but I can't remember the titles, okay?
Can I ask
So
you a
let me
question?
guess. You need some help.
I need some help from you guys.
Just for clarification, did you run out of eyes and have to replace the eyes with ones,
With ones,
at any point?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I broke the tips off the L's.
Okay, good deal. Perfect.
Okay, so like, for example, our first game in this competition is Fink Got
Oh,
Yoko.
I got this one.
What is it,
King of
Emily?
Tokyo.
King of Tokyo.
I jumped
so
ahead.
done with this game already. I didn't even have a chance to read the first two letters before Emily was like, "Oh, I know it's King of Tokyo."
This is good.
This is going to be
This is
miserable.
great.
Are we just screaming them out? Are we just doing it?
Do you want us to buzz?
Buzz in with your name.
Hey, I've got an idea, JK. Just
Okay.
for the listeners, before you show us the card, will you read the word that you've written there?
Okay, sure, yes. Okay, so our next card is Spawning.
Oh god.
Spawning.
This was a 2019 game released by Stonemaier
Oh, I got
Games.
it. Wingspan.
It is Wingspan.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Sorry, I'm gonna.
We
buzzing and it's
need
gonna
to
max
allow
out my
cursing on this part.
Just so you guys know, I'm starting you out with the easy ones.
Oh,
They are going to get progressively more
Oh,
challenging.
thank God we have that going for
Wait,
us.
hold on. Quick question.
Yes.
Okay. So are they all like
No,
the amount
I know,
of words?
I know exactly what you're going
Okay.
to ask. No, the word count could change depending
Oh,
on what you
geez.
get.
All right, so
Okay.
you were like,
So it will
Dwayne's not
get
going to suck
harder.
at this bad enough. I'm going to make it even harder.
Like for this one, for example, the game that I found the letters for was Oppose Lion Toxin.
Pose lion. Toxin.
I feel like the X should make it easy, but it's not.
No.
Oh,
Oppose Lion Toxin
I think
came out in 2015.
I think I got one word, but I don't know the rest of them.
You want to give
Nope.
give a brother a hint here? No, okay.
It was released by.
Oh, I got it. Potion Explosion.
It is Potion
Oh
Explosion.
my God.
Get out of here, Emily.
We found Emily's game.
Okay, how about this one then? Strongman Firearm.
Oh, I know this. My brain has seen it, but it's not.
Terraforming Mars.
Yes, it is.
Get
Yes,
out of
God.
here, Emily. You are ruining this game.
Okay, I think this is one where you guys might be able to catch Emily because I don't think she's going to know this game at all.
All right.
Shiny.
Shiny.
Shiny came out in 2003.
NY She.
No. The designer is Chris Berm.
Yinch.
It is Yinch. Very
Hey.
good.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're right. I did not know that one.
Okay. How about Old Mr. Walls?
Mr. Walls.
Old Mr. Walls came out in 2009 from designer Philippe Kiertz. It was an early success for Days of Wonder. And it is a major award winner, although its popularity
Oh my
may
gosh.
now be in decline.
Oh.
Oh, I got it. It's Small World.
It's Small
Thank
World.
you,
I
JK,
see
for the
it.
in
I see it.
decline.
Great joke.
All right. How about Parlor Yell? Parlor Yell came out in 2016 from designer Keith Mateka at Thunderworks Games.
Role player.
It is role
There
player.
it is.
I was
I'm
looking it
losing
on my
my
shelf
steam.
when
Oh,
you
no.
said it.
All right. How about Learn Downwards? Learn Downwards is a 2022 release. From Tim Eisner with art by Manny Tremblay. It was released by Druid City Games. And it is a game that I refuse to ever play at 5 players again.
Oh, I got it.
Wonderland Tour.
God darn it.
Who got that one?
James started saying it first, so I'm going to give it to him.
All right. Worth noting that
James is
Wait
going
to
to
get-
edit. James is going to edit our voices just to make it clear.
worth noting that this next game has a more extended title. I shortened it to the keywords. So we have
What does that mean? What do you mean shorten it to the keywords? Like you didn't include the subtitle?
You know how some games have a subtitle? Yeah,
Like
I left
pedal to the
subtitle.
metal?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So this is Festive Rib. Festive Rib is a
These are
2014
so
game
funny.
from Bruno Catala. It technically originated the gaming term worker displacement.
I know
Displacement.
this. I know this.
And the original print of this game was controversial.
Oh, I know this.
I feel like this is another one where the V should help us.
I played it with
Festive
you.
You have played it with me.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
played it
Why
with
is it
you?
not coming to me?
No. The controversy in this game
I know what it
featured the
is.
use of slaves
Yeah.
as currency.
Oh,
I can't think of the name.
I saw you
Five
guys.
Tribes.
Five
There you go.
Tribes.
I was like, I saw y'all play this
Son
at
of a
TGD.
gun.
All right, guys, here's an easy one for you. How about OK to Aid? OK to Aid came
Oh,
out.
Takedo.
Tokaido.
Nice.
There we go.
Well
Back.
done.
I am back.
That sounds like something you'd put on a medical release
Yes.
form. Anyway, okay to aid.
All right, there's 5 more to go. You guys have some work to do to catch Emily here. So our next one is Cute Dragonfly Subs. Cute Dragonfly Subs.
So many letters.
This 2011 game was designed by Stefan Feld. It is set in France. And it recently received a deluxe edition revamp.
Castles of Burgundy.
That is it.
Oh, Dwayne with 2. It's the best day ever.
That's
Our next
so
one
many letters.
is Concentric Mouse. Concentric Mouse. The original print of this game came out in 1977.
Oh no.
Mousetrap.
Currently,
There's no
Fantasy Flight has the license for this game.
Yes, it is Cosmic Encounter.
It is Cosmic Encounter.
There you go.
It's good.
Dwayne's catching up.
All right, guys. Mango Hovel.
My favorite kind of hovel.
Mango Hovel. It is a 2017 game from Isaac Childress.
Gloomhaven. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
very nice. Well
Yeah.
done.
All right. How about Teddy Chihuahua Melt?
That is not a flavor of ice cream I want.
Teddy Chihuahua Melt came out in 2019 from Simon.
There's so many H's.
Great Wall of China.
No.
The irony of you saying that, Emily, is great. It's a cooperative game.
I know.
From Simon?
Yeah. You'd have to be crazy not to like this game.
Cooperative Simon 2019.
From designers Rob Davio and Eric Lang.
I knew it was Eric.
Oh, it's
Lang.
got to be a legacy game if Rob's involved, right?
Yeah, these clues don't help me. I don't know these names.
Eric Lang? I mean,
Oh, it's Cthulhu Death May Die.
Cthulhu Death May Die.
I still yet to play it.
It's so good.
In campaign, so close to legacy.
All right, guys. Your final one. I wish you luck on Sweltering Tartar. Sweltering Tartar is a 2016 game from Alexander Pfister.
Great Western Trail.
It is Great Western
Oh, well done,
Trail.
James.
Oh,
Yay! What'd you guys total up with? Did Emily win the game?
I got 5,
Let me,
so I don't think
count
so.
these out here. Woo!
That
I
is
got
a
some
stack
stacks.
of cards.
Got
That's okay.
stacks on stacks.
Hey, I got more than 0, so I won my own game. But for you people who
think
want to know
James
my
got
real
it.
score,
6.
James
Yeah.
got it.
Wow.
6
It was-
I had a
over
strong
Emily.
start and then just fell apart.
654. That's a tight game, everybody.
Thank you guys for helping me reorganize my game collection. I appreciate that.
I really, when you said you were playing an anagram game, I was like, this is going to go so badly. I had a good time. Thanks,
Yay.
JK. Thanks for
Thanks,
putting that
JK.
together for us.
Absolutely. Is that going to do it for us today,
I
guys?
think
I
so.
think
They're
so.
turning down the lights and they've come to sweep the floors.
Okay.
So
Well, we're done for the day. First, we'd like to thank our sponsors for today, the UPN Network. The UPN Network, home of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Veronica Mars, and even Star Trek Voyager. UPN is going to be around forever, just like cable. Count on it. That's it for us today. If you want to reach us on email, it is pod@gleefulmeeple.com, Instagram @gleefulmeeplepod. We are coming up on May, where we have several events all through Nashville. Earliest one is going to be the first Tuesday in May, where you will find us at Highwire Brewing.
Which I believe JK and I are hosting.
I think so.
Let's go.
We currently have 7 actual gaming events scheduled for May, plus we are going to be hosting a Memorial Day picnic at Shelby Park on Memorial Day. So if you are traveling to Nashville and want to use that as your opportunity to come check us out, please do so. We'd love to see you there. Thank you, everybody. I've been JK.
I'm James.
Emily says bye.
I've been Dwayne.
Yes.
And we'll continue to be.
We're out of here.
We'll see.
Be nice.
Bye,
Have
everybody.
fun.